Chapter 1. Foreboding Storms and Dreams. As the night deepened and the warmth of Lorian's hospitality lingered in his heart, Cipher made his way back to his dwelling, guided by the soft glow of lantern light illuminating the path. Weariness weighed on his shoulders, a pleasant ache born of a day well spent. Entering his cozy abode, Cipher felt a sense of calm wash over him. The familiar scent of herbs and parchment filled the air, mingling with the comforting presence of Rimgazer, who had already settled himself on the bed, his massive form curled up in a protective coil. With a quiet sigh, Cipher removed his cloak and settled onto the bed beside his faithful companion. Rimgazer shifted slightly, making room for him, his warm breath stirring the air with a gentle rhythm. As sleep claimed him, Cipher found himself drifting into a realm of vague and fleeting dreams. He stood in a vast expanse, surrounded by swirling mists and shadows. In the distance, a gleaming stone beckoned to him, its brilliance casting an ethereal glow. Yet, amidst the shimmering light, faint whispers echoed in the air, elusive and incomprehensible. Cipher strained to make sense of them, but their meaning eluded him, slipping through his grasp like fleeting memories. Suddenly, the tranquility of the dream shattered like glass, replaced by chaos and confusion. Explosions rocked the ground, sending shockwaves rippling through the air. Panic engulfed him, a primal instinct urging him to flee. With a start, Cipher awoke to a world gone mad. The deafening roar of thunder reverberated through the walls, punctuated by the relentless assault of wind and rain against the window shutters. Outside, the village echoed with screams and shouts, the panicked cries of its inhabitants drowning out all else. Wormgazer, nowhere to be found. Cipher thought to himself that Worm must have already taken to the streets to help the villagers. Rising swiftly from his bed, Cipher rushed to the window, his heart pounding in his chest. Through the darkness, he could see the village engulfed in turmoil, the wrath of the storm wreaking havoc upon its streets. Flashes of lightning illuminating the crowds rushing to the fortified shelters desperately. "What the hell is going on?" Cipher exclaimed. There were no warning signs of any tempest of this magnitude. With a sense of urgency, Cipher flung open the door, stepping out into the storm to join his fellow villagers in their struggle against the fury of nature. In situations such as these, the village enlists the help of all magic users, so that through a combined effort, they can quell phenomenon, both supernatural or otherwise. With a determined resolve, Cipher pushed through the drenched streets of Yukibana, each step a battle against the fierce onslaught of wind and rain. Furious lightning streaked across the sky, casting fleeting shadows that danced upon the sodden cobblestones, illuminating paths through the chaotic crowd. Cold air and water slapping Cipher in the face, the hood of his cloak barely maintaining its placement even with the enchantments woven into the fabric. Fires raged in the distance, their flickering flames a stark contrast to the darkness that enveloped the village. The acrid scent of smoke mingled with the crisp tang of rain-soaked earth. Thunder boomed overhead with such force that it seemed to shake the very ground beneath Cipher's feet. The ground trembled beneath him, testament to the raw power of the storm that raged unabated. Yet, amidst the chaos and destruction, Cipher pressed on, his determination unwavering. With each step forward, he offered a steadying hand to those in need, guiding them to safety amidst the tumultuous night. Through the deafening roar of the storm, Cipher's voice rose above the din, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. With words of encouragement and reassurance, he rallied the villagers, urging them to stand strong in the face of adversity. As he forged ahead, Cipher knew that the true strength of Yukibana lay not in its buildings or walls, but in the resilience of its people. Together with the other mages, they could quell the storm, or so he thought. Upon finally coming to a clearing, Cipher's expression curled in abject horror. A magician gored into a wall by a storm harpy, a servant of the storm goddess Garuda. The magician's scream, haunting. With little hesitation, Cipher channeled mana through his ring to fire a focused blast of arcane energy, tearing the abomination apart. With a swift motion, Cipher drew his staff from a pocket dimension, its polished wood gleaming in the intermittent flashes of lightning. His senses honed by years of training, he scanned the chaos around him, his gaze landing on the swarm of storm harpies descending upon the village. Without hesitation, Cipher sprang into action, weaving through the throngs of panicked villagers towards the mages and knights locked in combat with the winged assailants. Arcane energy crackled at his fingertips as he unleashed powerful spells, each blast of magic striking true and felling the harpies with precision. Eventually, he united with Lorian. She was striking down multiple harpies with a single cleave of her blade. "Have at the you winged shits!" Lorian shouts. Alongside the mages and knights, Cipher and Lorian fought with unwavering determination, their movements fluid and precise as they danced through the fray. Together, they formed a formidable barrier against the relentless onslaught of the storm harpies, pushing back against the tide of chaos threatening to engulf Yukibana. Above them, Rimgazer soared through the storm-laden skies, his mighty form a beacon of strength and determination. With each blast of blue fire, he struck at the heart of the looming threat hidden within the clouds, his roars echoing through the tumultuous night. Trusting in Rimgazer's formidable power, Cipher focused his attention on aiding his fellow mages and knights in their battle against the harpy swarms. With each foe vanquished, the path to victory became clearer, their combined efforts a testament to the unyielding spirit of Yukibana. After much and long fighting, an explosion great magnitude erupted in the air. A shockwave of crackling lightning detonated with such ferocity it knocked all the soldiers and mages of their feet, the shockwave itself turning remaining harpies into dust, clearing out the last of the threat. The storm came to a striking end. Only soft drips of rain and delicate thunder remain. Soldiers tired and dirty, mages exhausted for stretching their mana reserves. The full moon breaking through the clouds as it descends and the sun slowly rises. Rimgazer descends from the sky, dinking up any remaining fires to put them out. Cipher and Lorian return to their feet to begin helping the soldiers, assessing the damage and counting the dead. After a few hours, Lorian, Rim, and Cipher all convene at the medical house, left slightly damaged from the storm battle. Sitting in painful silence as the hymn mages treat their wounds, Lorian breaks the ice to try and lighten the mood. "I suppose this night will be a story told to all the little boys and girls one day." Seeing no immediate response, she continues. "The great warriors of Yukibana, they will call it. They might even commission the Painter Guild for a rendering of such a night. What a sight that would be." Cipher sits upright, encouraged by her words. "A wonderful thought. I'm sure it would be a great honor to those who fell in this battle," he says. Rim uncurls himself on the bed beside Lorian. "Perhaps now it would be appropriate to request a statue in my likeness. I did save the town after all. It was no easy feat killing that storm harpy general." Rim boasts proudly. With a slight chuckle from Lorian, she begins to caress Rim's temple, leaning into a hug. "Well, that would be wonderful. We wouldn't want the world to forget the village's best dragon companion now, would we?" An expression of earnest satisfaction resounds through Worm's behaviors as Lorian coddles and praises him. They are approached by one of the hymn mages. The man wears a purple shirt with a black tie and vest to match. He has long, well-kept brown locks for hair and subtle purple eyes. "Hello, you all. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Lyric. I wanted to thank you all for your efforts. We would have had a far worse night without your help," he conveys, followed by a very regal and polite bow. This piques the interest of Cipher. "Lyric, a lovely name, but what's your last name?" Lyric reels slightly at the question. "Oh, I actually don't have a family name. I was born a bastard, you see." Cipher's eyes slightly widened. "Oh, my sincere apologies. I only asked because you seemed high-born." To remove any preceding awkwardness, Lorian gratefully accepted Lyric's thanks. Gladly. I was taught by someone to always pay graces where graces are due, Lyric says as he moves to attend to other patients. So, what would even spur on such an event like this? There were no signs of storm harpies anywhere in the region, but suddenly, we were overwhelmed, Lorian asks in a concerned tone. What the hell gives? Cipher thinks for a bit. It is very odd and concerning, he begins. I detected nothing at all during Worm and mine's last trip. The only thing I can think of is the dream I had before I awoke to the storm. Lorian and Rim looked at each other before she spoke. Before the harpies attacked, I had a very strange dream as well. Worm also stated he had a strange dream. After some discussion about the nature of their dreams, they determined they all had a similar one. Lyric overheard this and darted back over to the trio. Wait, I've had that dream as well, Lyric exclaims. But instead of whispers, I heard humming. I don't know what it meant, but it was a very beautiful song. A puzzling silence follows. Cipher's brows furrowed in frustration. None of this is making any sense. At least not logically. The only thing I can determine is that our dreams in this storm are somehow linked. Cipher leans over in frustration. Hey, we can think more on this later. We should get back to helping around the town. I don't want them to have to prolong the passing ceremony longer than necessary, Worm states in a concerned voice. They all nod in agreement and set a schedule to convene at Cipher's dwelling at a later time. After a few days of cleaning and repairs to part of the town, a passing ceremony was held. The town lord, Conquerant Conquistore, gave an elegant speech for the souls of the lost. There was also a piano performance to soothe the souls of the lost and alleviate the weariness of the town. Most everyone stood in silence, a few shedding tears for the ones they lost. Cipher amongst the crowd still pondering the strangeness of it all and the regret of not being able to act sooner. With a determined expression, Cipher looks up into the sky, looking for any answers or reason it might gleam. Chapter 2. Vague Futures and Misty Ideals. In a land home to great Tataragami, chaos, and unending power struggles, resides the demon clans of Ishgria. One such clan has just been revived from extinction after their defeat from over 2,000 years ago. The demon Graham, the vampire queen Rise, and their warrior demon Shusui, who is absent from their surroundings. Upon being freshly revived, "This is odd," Graham says, a demon once vanquished from a time long past. "This isn't the realm I perished in, or it at least does not look that way." Footsteps approach the daunting demon man. "My lord," a soft yet strong voice addressing him. "It seems as though your plan worked. I think..." Graham looks over to find a vampire by his side. He begins to recall events properly now. "Ah yes, I believe it has, although I'm not sure to what degree." He pauses before continuing, surveying his surroundings with complete uncertainty. "This is Ishgria, right? Unless you change the resurrection destination, this is indeed our home, or what remains of it. Curious. I wonder how long it took for someone to finally trigger my awakening. The land has changed so much. I believe we've wasted enough time already. Should we not begin our movements, Lord?" the vampire woman says curtly. "Wait, we are missing someone. Things won't go smoothly without them. Shusui. Yes, that's it. Shusui, our warrior companion," she recalls despite their foggy memories. "Ah, yes, that's right. Things will be difficult without my tome or Shusui. I do not know how strong the beings here are or how long we've been dead. We will have to move carefully until we have the tome and Shusui in hand." "That's rather wise of you, Lord Graham. Here it is. I thought you'd order me to merge to secure our situation. That is our last resort, Rise. It also stands to your benefit that I require my tome for that. I do not remember much, but I know I left all the answers I needed inscribed within its pages. Well, Lord Graham, what shall we do if we encounter other hostiles? Demons aren't known for idle chatter. Let's hope that we have enough power between us to stop them. Otherwise, we will have to flee. I'd rather fall to ash than flee from worms, but if it is your wish, Lord, I shall obey. Rise says while relinquishing her pride. Yes, that is my desire for now. Once we locate Shusui, we will— Wait! Who's there? Graham exclaims as he barely manages to prepare his magic. A figure in a white coat approaches holding 2 weapons in each hand, sporting a powerful aura and ferocious blue eyes gleaming through the shadows. The figure steps forward, bringing his face into the light and announcing himself. He scans their faces, assessing their strength. I am known as the Vexing Monarch, Kira. Who might you lot be, wandering my lands unannounced? He aims his spear as if ready to strike, should the next words displease him so. Immediately, Graham and Rise kneel, knowing that the demon before them is far stronger, and they could not even hope to flee. Their only choice was to submit for a chance at survival. Greetings, Great One. I am once known as Lord Graham. I've recently revived along with my companion from a spell I cast to save us over 2,000 years ago. However, without the tome I cast, the spell with my remaining memories are out of my reach. Graham is shaking now, both out of terror and the weakness of being newly revived. Follow, Kira commanded as he turned toward a castle in the distance. You must be famished after sleeping so long. Rise and Graham glance at each other, both in awe with Kira's pragmatism and the understanding that they should play along for now. The 3 walk onward. We return to the land of Grand Gaia, the realm in which most mortals live and where Yukibana is. It is evening after the passing ceremony, an event meant to ease the souls of the lost into the next life. With the village restored from days of tireless repairs, commerce and life will continue on. Lord Conqueron Conquistori personally donated aid to the families of the lost and has taken the few orphans into his main home located in Atharva Republic, about a few days' journey away by horse and carriage. Cipher makes his way toward his dwelling, determined to reflect more on the storm event that shook the peaceful town of Yukibana. Upon entering, he opens his satchel to retrieve the tome he discovered, finally prepared to decipher its secrets. Perhaps this was the true source of that storm event, he thought to himself. He opened the book and was only able to view the first page. The other pages would not budge, most likely due to an enchantment placed by the caster. I suppose I'll have to decipher this page in order to peer into its secrets. A smile cracks on his face, amused by his own thoughts. Decipher, he whispers to himself, followed by another slight chuckle. Before he can even begin delving into the text secrets, there is a rhythmic knock at the door. Cipher makes his way to it, reminded that he did ask everyone to convene at his home, once there was an opportunity. Opening the door, he was greeted by Lyric and Lorianne. Welcome, he says while beckoning them in. Whoa, exclaimed Lyric and Lorianne in unison. They were a bit uneased by the mess, but were understanding considering recent events. Oh yeah, sorry about the mess. I've been so busy with the troubles of the town I forgot to fix my own place. One moment. Cipher summoned his staff, tapping it 3 times into the floor whilst chanting, Repare ma maison, enlève ma saleté. With a few swirls of magic, things began to return to normal before the chaotic state they were in. The dwelling was once again good as new. Impressive. I don't know many people who can use such mundane magic, Lyric stating in an amused tone. You'll find that our resident sage Cipher has much to offer, Lorianne says in a boasting-like manner. I actually met Cipher because of the various odd skills he possesses. Now, Lorianne, we didn't gather here so you could talk about me. I do appreciate your value in me, though. However, I believe now is a great moment to further cover the details of the dreams we each had. Where is your dragon fellow? Lyric asks cautiously. Didn't he also have such dreams? Oh yes, he will return shortly. Worm was commissioned by Conqueron Conquistori to transport the orphans to his home after the ceremony. Cipher begins to brew tea and retrieves a scroll of parchment from his drawer. Should we begin recounting the events of our dreams then? Lorian suggests. Yes, but leave out nothing. I don't want to miss out on any clues if you can help it. The three of them sit around Cipher's table and begin with recounting the exact events of their dreams. Lorian begins telling her dream, Cipher taking notes in a blank scroll he prepared. Lorian dreamt of a long sword floating in the mist. She described the sounds of faint blades crashing. As she walked toward it, the dream shattered and cracked. Some sort of demon or beast with multiple arms and weapons stood over her in fiery lands right before she awoke. Lyric recounts his dream as well. The mist itself was colorful and vibrant. It played music and sung hymns to him as he stepped through them, taken by their sounds, though he could not discern the meaning. When Lyric's dream shattered, he described a deafening silence. He could not utter sound nor hear it. He could not even feel the vibrations of his throat, causing him to awaken in a scare. Purely out of camaraderie, Cipher shares his dream events and the shattering moment that caused him to awaken from them. They all sit in silence as Cipher finishes scribing the similar and varied events of their dream. Okay, so based on what we have shared, the general idea is that we've had a misty-like dream, which shattered and gave us each horrible feelings right before awaking to the storm event. Lyric and Lorian nod in agreement. Well, I have a few theories. Having Wormgazer might confirm things further, but I think we were shown things belonging to our futures regarding the mist. I'm not entirely certain of what the shattering was, but maybe those were potential threats to each of our futures. To figure that out, won't we need to know what caused the storm event and the dreams to begin with? Lyric asks. I have a few ideas regarding that. Either the tome I brought with me was caused this, or something in Wormgazer's dream can point us in the right direction. I have a feeling these events will require more from me than I'd like, Lyric says as he stares into his teacup. In the skies above the Atharva Republic, Wormgazer arrives to Conqueron Conquistori's estate. Equipped with a unique riding saddle, he lands the main courtyard. We have arrived, Sir Conqueron. I hope the flight was satisfactory. Wormgazer kneels to the ground and turns his wing into a slide for the children to dismount. A few maids exit the home to attend the children, while a butler attends to Conqueron. Thank you, Wormgazer. Yes, it was a wonderful flight. I was comfortable the whole way. Gladly, sir, Wormgazer replies, almost wagging his tail. Am I to understand you and Cipher were the ones who hunted abomination bees for me? I just want to confirm, claims Conqueron. Yes, actually, we were not aware you had commissioned that request. Well, in that case, I greatly appreciate your fine work. The vast amount of honey you obtained was generous and will greatly benefit my endeavors. He claps his hands, and two strong men using enhancing magic carried over a large crate and placed it at Worm's feet. This represents the payment that the Arcane Bank shall receive on behalf of your accounts. I trust this is satisfactory? Worm's eyes widened. He tested the weight by grasping the box with one claw. Don't you think? This is a bit excessive, sir, Worm says in disbelief. We would be able to build a small city with this. Well, the honey you collected was not ordinary or easy to get by eye means. You even managed to recover many of their stingers. Each of these are very valuable materials. I've lost battalions of men to those things because of their abnormal body armor and swarm strength. I see. Well, I'm sure Cipher will be pleased once I tell him of your generosity, sir. I would hope so. That is, after all, a quarter of my total wealth. Now. That's enough money talk for now. Follow me inside. You'll have them prepare a meal for you before you go. As Wormgazer follows Conqueron Conquistori into his estate's main building, he shrinks to a fair size. The strong men carry the crate away. Upon entering, they are greeted by three maids and a butler. Worm catches a glimpse of the children proceeding up the stairs, followed by other staff. These maids will tend to you before supper. Alphonse here will retrieve you when dinner is prepared. Do not worry about the meal selections. I've done my research on you and things you enjoy consuming. Interesting. I look forward to dinner then. With a bow, Worm follows the three maids to a guest room they prepared for him in advance. They placed a tub for Worm in the center of the room and beckoned him toward it with a bow. As he enters the soapy and extremely hot water, the maids begin to wash, scrub, and pamper Worm. After some time, they finished bathing and drying him and provided large bedding for him to rest on. As he laid on the bedding, he glimpsed a painting of a golden dragon on the wall out of the corner of his eye. Shaking his head to himself, he thought about its familiarity. "Wait, I know this dragon," Worm exclaimed. "It's the same one from my dream. Perhaps I'll ask Conqueror about it. Maybe he knows the painter and can lead me to them. Perhaps they will have the answers I seek." After an hour of waiting, Wormgazer is finally invited to the dining room by Alphonse. In one large bowl beside the table are various meats covered in dragon sauce, a condiment created using 20 different spices and blending of wines. Were a normal man to consume such a thing, it would completely destroy their ability to taste. Beside it were smaller bowls of lamb, cow, ox, and a bowl of water. At the table there sat Conqueror. "Ah, there you are, my esteemed guest. You must be quite famished. Come, eat." Worm couldn't resist the aroma of food prepared for him. Almost forgetting the question he meant to pose, he jumped at the bowl to begin devouring its contents. "This is superb. It's as if you've created a whole new kind of meat." Conqueror grimaces a bit. "I wouldn't be able to take credit. It was a suggestion from the head chef here. He studies many forms of cuisine. He's truly dedicated to his work. We'll be sure to pass your regards along to him." Worm pauses a bit before continuing to eat, speaking in intervals until his food is gone. "So I had a question regarding the art here, Sir Conqueror. Do you keep track of the art's origins? Their artists?" "Why, yes, actually. Everything is done by an in-house artist I sponsor." "Oh, that sounds perfect. Would it be possible for me to speak with him? I have a question regarding one of the works I saw in the guest room you prepared for me." "Oh, I see. Well, the artist is rather reclusive. I don't believe he would have the courage to speak to a mouse, let alone a dragon. However, I do believe I am familiar enough with all his work that I can answer any questions you have." "Well then, in that case, could you tell me about the meaning behind the painting of the golden dragon? I believe the name on the painting was Voltarix the Thunderlord." "Ah, that painting. Yes, well, that was once the strongest dragon to ever live. I had it commissioned because of its ties to my family history. Upon some deep research I've had done, the golden dragon is actually a form dragons take before they become divine beings and ascend to godhood." Conqueror continues. "As it happens, that dragon in particular felled and devoured most of its foes. It laid waste to anything in its path and left no room for mercy. Apparently, such ambition is what it takes to reach those heights." Conqueror has Worm's full attention now. At this moment, he is more hungry for the information he's being given. One day, a certain man challenged the dragon, as its wrath had tore apart the man's town and killed many of his family. He had nothing to lose at that point. The gods had just blessed the man with a heavenly blessing. The man also cursed and sacrificed his soul to earn an underworldly blessing. Achieving the unthinkable, he obtained 3 blessings at once. The battle quite literally tore heaven and earth. Grand Gaia surely would have met its end that day. The man managed to strike a fatal blow to the dragon, ending the conflict. At the end, the power the dragon absorbed was what restored the tears between realms. The man, after completing his goal, was now ready to accept his curse in full. What was the curse? Eternal life. What? Why? Well, it had many other specifics to the curse, but suffice to say any remaining attachments he had, he would be forced to watch them wither away. He also had all of his blessings stripped from him, besides the curse that remains. I see. He wouldn't be allowed to ever rest or join his family. Any bonds he formed would grow old and wither. That truly is a fate worse than death. But didn't you say it had ties to your family? Yes, but only because we had adoration for the dragon's achievements during its life. Such power ought to be remembered, don't you agree? Worm furrows his brows, finding that being the only link a rather weak connection, but nods in agreement anyways. Well, I thank you for the hospitality and story. This information may have helped me figure something out. Worm stands up and begins to leave. Do fly well and safe, Wormgazer. I appreciate your assistance today and with those bees, Conqueror says, waving him goodbye. After the butler leads Worm out the door, he returns to his original size and takes flight, pondering much about the things Conqueror had told him. Something didn't feel right with his story, though, especially the part about Conqueror's family ties. After an hour of flying, Worm began to feel dizzy and weak. What's going on? His altitude began to drop gradually, until he outright crashed into a grassland with a resounding boom. I got plenty of rest. I don't understand. Just then, two figures emerged from the fog. You are really annoying, you know, says the young male stepping into the moonlight. You're telling me it took 4 hours of poison to bring you down? That's absurd. Now, Ark. His metabolism was lower when he was inside the estate. His body was shrunk for most of that time. The older man says, stepping into the moonlight as well. Whoa, who the hell are you two? Worm demands, barely able to lift himself off the ground. Geez, Gramps, are we sure this dragon is only 26? He's stronger than he should be right now. Enough. Both of you with your endless questions will drive me senile faster than I already am. Let's just finish this quickly, boy. Sure. I need a nap after all that running we did to keep up with this thing. I won't let you have your way, says Worm in a state of panic. He unleashes a gust of flames, but instead of blue, they are normal flames now. The old man spins his staff, dissipating the smoke. The younger man jumps over him, drop-kicking Worm's head, forcing his mouth shut and into the ground. After landing, he follows it up with a vicious punch, sending Worm flying across the field. Damn it! Worm exclaims as he winces in pain. How is he hurting me through my scales? Worm crawls to his feet, generating magical discs in the shape of blades to launch at the enemy. At least he's not making this boring, says the young man as he rushes towards Worm. Sigh, this will be a long night, says the old man. Slash of Ishrion. A wave of energy quickly launches at Worm, severing his two right wings and forcing his roar. Battle raged on, fierce fire and magical attacks from Worm. Effortless dodges and counterattacks from the two strange foes. Pushed into the corner and gravely injured. What is to become of our dragon companion? Unable to escape, we can only hope for help to reach him, or for him to defeat his foes. Will he survive? I appreciate everyone taking the time to enjoy this story. Please, if you would be so kind to leave a like and subscribe. If you'd also like to further support my growth or my channel, I will have provided a link to my socials and PayPal for any donations. Once again, thank you and hope to see you here for the next episode.